without detailing a clear plan for what would happen next. But other members are standing firmly behind the president. My next guest says her party is focused on defeating Trump and thinks the best way to do that is with, quote, Joe Biden on the ticket. Joining me now is Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan of Virginia, a member of the Biden-Harris National Advisory Board. Congresswoman McClellan, as always, thank you very much for coming to the show. All right, so my big beef is you got all these people saying, President Biden, we love you, we respect you, but you need to, you should step aside. You should get out of the race. But they don't ever say what comes next. Why should people be concerned that that piece of the conversation isn't engaged?
Well, we're a little over 100 days from Election Day, and what we need to be focused on is talking to the American people about how extreme a second Trump administration with the Vice President J.D. Vance is, with Project 2025 as their playbook for what they're going to do, the extreme policies they're going to put in place. If you don't believe they're going to do it, I see members of the House Republican Party trying to do it right now, and we've got a Supreme Court that has given the next president carte blanche to do whatever they want to achieve their goals, even if it means breaking the law. And that's what Democrats need to be talking about right now, focused on. Joe Biden has said he's in the race. Unless until he says otherwise, we need to run our race and talk to the American people about what he and Vice President Harris have done, rebuilding our economy in a way that leaves no one behind, protecting reproductive freedom, record investments in addressing climate change, and they need to build on that going forward, as opposed to this dystopian vision of America that a Donald Trump, J.D. Vance ticket would have. And that's what Democrats need to be talking about for the next 110 days.
Mm-hmm. You know, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Instagram, she did an Instagram Live raising a very key issue here. She says that people want President Biden to step aside, but they don't all agree that Vice President Harris should be at the top of the ticket. Listen to this.
If you think that there is consensus among the people who want Joe Biden to leave, that they will support Vice President Harris, you would be mistaken. I'm in these rooms. I see what they say in conversations. They are interested in removing the whole ticket.
So, Congresswoman, you're in those rooms, meaning in the halls of Congress, but have you been in those rooms where those discussions are happening? And is that a very real thing that's afoot, that they don't just want President Biden off the ticket, they want the sitting vice president off the ticket too?
I think a world in which Joe Biden or Kamala Harris are not on the ballot is fantasy. I think given how close we are to when early voting starts in some states in September, how close we are to when we have to certify who the nominee of the Democratic Party is, the idea that we're going to have some sort of mini primary is a fantasy. 15 million people voted in open primaries, and we don't have time, and no one's even explained how it's going to work if the president steps aside, that we go with anybody other than Kamala Harris, and to do so would be a mistake. She has been a partner by his side from day one, working very closely with this administration. We have a succession plan if, God forbid, something happens to the president. She's ready to step in because she's already been doing the job as vice president. But again, we need to be spending the next 110 days talking about the fact that Donald Trump said he would be a dictator on day one. He wasn't kidding. That he now has a playbook of very extreme policies that the Republican Party is trying to implement right now, and the only thing standing in their way is a Democratic Senate and President Biden and Vice President Harris. That's what we need to be talking about.
We're running out of time. I had to get you on one more thing. We played some sound from Donald Trump's rally going on still right now in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We played some of what he had to say at his acceptance speech in Milwaukee. Does his rambling, incoherent, unhinged, RNC speech underscore how beatable Trump is?
Absolutely, and we should be talking about that too. And every word out of his mouth almost is a lie. He told lie after lie. I think they counted 34 in the debate. He told more than that at the acceptance speech the other night. He told a lie tonight, talking about he doesn't know anything about Project 2025.
Right.
It's written by people that used to work for him, who are delighted that J.D. Vance is the vice presidential candidate, who said this is the praise the Heritage Foundation for writing their playbook. So I think that's what we need to be focused on, beating him and J.D. Vance.
And to be specific, Russ Vought, who
That's
is
right.
like one of the primary authors of Project 2025, was Trump's OMB director and rumored to be under consideration for White House Chief of Staff if Donald Trump gets a second term.
That's right.
Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan of the Commonwealth, I could say great state, but the Commonwealth of Virginia, thank you, as always, for coming to the Saturday show.
Thank you.
And coming up, Trump's rambling rhetoric. My panel and I will take a deeper dive into his anti-unity messaging at the convention and what he's saying now.